My name is Jeanette Eisen. I'm a clinical supervisor, psychotherapist. I work at Homeless Prenatal Program.
And I'm Susanna Eisen, a clinical supervisor, Homeless Prenatal Program, Worcester.
Let me just give you a kind of like very quick history here. Homeless Prenatal Program actually began 35 years ago by Martha Ryan. At the time, she was a nurse. And something that she observed was women in the streets that were pregnant and they were homeless. And so it became a mission for her to be able to support these women who had no resources. And so that's how it began, again, long time ago. And what's happened throughout this time, all these years, as the agency has changed a lot and it provides many kinds of services. There are different teams providing different resources to people. The concentration is for pregnant moms, for families, and children 0 to 5. We can discuss that, but that's the main. Yeah, that's the main
concentration.
Yeah, concentration. And also the other thing that is important is like, even though it began, and because this is a misunderstanding about the name, even though it began with that, with homeless people who were in the streets, right now, all the population that we see, which is over 4,000 families a year, because it's a family resource center, not all the families are in the streets, but they're not stable. They don't have stable housing, or they have some, but they have other unstable situations, and that's why they attend the agency. The trainees are at the agency. Most of the trainees are for 2.5 days. So one day that everybody's required to attend is on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are a long day where we do group supervision, and then we have didactic training in the afternoon. And so that's for everyone to go. The other next day and a half is for the students to do psychotherapy or do the notes that they need, progress notes, assessment notes, and also they will have supervision during that day and a half. So they have individual supervision, they have 2 supervisors, and they have, that's basically it. They also, in that day and a half, not only work with the notes and the administrative staff and the clients, but also they might have interaction with different providers at the agency or other providers that are involved in the cases of the clients.
All the referrals that we have are internal referrals. So a client would come in through client services, which is one of the teams at Homeless Prenatal, and they assess the client's needs, and then they decide to refer them to the different programs that we have. And once they're referred to those programs, if it's assessed that client needs mental health services, they would refer to our team. So it's internal referrals how we get the clients.
So for example, just to be a little bit more specific, so there is, as Susanna is saying, there is the housing team, the pregnancy, I'm going to call it pregnancy, new beginnings team. There is a wellness team. There is a substance use team. So all these are the different teams in the agency, and there are clients referred to each one of those teams, and they receive services in those teams by the case managers. And at the same time, if the case managers and the clients decide that it would be important for them to go to therapy, that's when they are referred to the mental health team. So we are one more team among all these teams at the agency.
A typical caseload, I mean, it could be between 6 and 8 clients, most probably 8. Because we have different programs, they make it a variety of different issues clients experience. It could be pregnant mom, it could be somebody experiencing substance use issues, it could be housing insecurity. So they will be dealing with a variety of people with different issues.
Yeah. So thank you. And so domestic violence is something, or CPS cases, or yeah, that some of the families are dealing with. That's
one thing that is constant is that everybody's a parent, because to be part of the agency, it has to be part of a family with children. So that's one constant for everybody. It could be male or females, but it's a parent. Everybody are parents.
so supervision. So the way we think about supervision is a reflective practice. So basically what we do is like we use, I always stumble with this question. There are different parts to supervision. First of all, let me just say there are two individual supervisors. So each one of the students will have a primary and a secondary supervisor, and they can consult with both of them. And then also there is the group supervision. And we also have Spanish-speaking group supervision, because there are two, in this case, this year, we have two Spanish-speaking groups, therapists. Now, it's reflective in the way that issues like culture and race are like a big umbrella in the way we're doing the supervision, not only culture and race for the client, but also for the therapist. And we're very trauma informed, and that a lot of our clients have had difficult histories, and so we need to be able to look at through this trauma lens to be able to understand what's their internal experience. We follow attachment lens and harm reduction as well. So all these parts in connection with the transference and countertransference, what's coming up for the client, towards the therapist, and for the therapist to the client. And so there is a lot of intention on our part on being able to see the process for the psychotherapist as well, what's coming up for them, and attending to all that in connection to the client. So there is space for all these. It's a difficult question. There are too many layers.
We have a weekly didactic, an hour and a half didactic, and we have developed like modules of what we cover throughout the year. So there is a trauma module, there is a substance use module, there is a perinatal mood disorders module, attachment, domestic violence, and within all of these, we're also bringing the culture and race piece. We have decided not to do just one culturally competence module, but we are bringing that piece within all the modules that we provide. And actually, trainees also attend during the staff meeting. There is a mandatory staff meeting once a month for the agency, for all the agency. And there are other trainings that staff attend to. So trainees have the opportunity to attend to other trainings too within the agency.
The one that always come up for me first is self-advocacy. I think that's such an important piece for the trainees, to be able to articulate what is it that they need, or what is not working, or what is working, what do they need more of. Oftentimes, the position of the students is like, oh, I should know, or oh, I should be able to do this, or like, but no, there is no those shoots, it's like, just like, please let us know what you need and advocate for yourself and seek those opportunities to grow. I think that's one big one. A lot of eagerness to learn, taking risks, just jump, see what happens. Anything else, Susanna, you want to add?
I think flexibility. I think it's a big agency with, which is very diverse. There are all kinds of people working here and with all kinds of backgrounds and different experiences. So I think there is a rich opportunity to learn from many different people. But then the trainee needs initiative also. And we are very hands-on within the mental health team, but there are other opportunities that may happen that if trainees are eager or have the initiative, they can also learn more from other people. Cases. It's a lot of trauma. I mean, it's people that are very complicated lives. It's community mental health, where there is at times lack of resources, and being part of a system.
Right.
So I think the cases are I think the cases are could be not everybody, but there could be complicated cases or difficult cases in terms of human suffering.
And that, in a way, is what makes it so important to do the work, because a lot of the clients have had trauma, and they are on top of that having to deal with systems that are not recognizing many of the experiences that they've had or the situations that they have lived. So it's like, it's very real, and it's very heartwarming to be able to be working with them. Yeah. And yeah, working with CPS cases or substance use is not easy, but again, it's an opportunity to kind of like be closer to them and see how we can support them. Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is that you will be the student fully supported by us. Like, we are very committed to provide good training, and yeah, create a support system so they feel that they are not doing this alone, that they have all the tools or resources that they need to do the work. And it's an opportunity to be in community mental health, like an experience. It's a different thing. It's like working with many providers, and not only they will get support from the mental health team, but from many case managers that work in the agency or managers. Yeah, because they will be working with different people.
I think that's something that I want to emphasize, that the work we do, the trainee will be doing the therapy, but the client would also be supported by other people. So the therapist can concentrate on the mental health piece, and all the other pieces are taken care of by other people. So it's a great opportunity for people to really progress and change and get their needs met, because somebody would be working on the housing, somebody would be working on the pregnancy, somebody would be working potentially, right? And so the therapist can really concentrate on the mental health piece with the collaboration with others. So it's a great opportunity to.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I want to say it again, it's a collaboration also that even though the therapist is working only in the therapy piece, she or he will be working with the other case managers, like in how, let's say if there is a problem with the housing or the pregnancy, the case manager can work in the concrete stuff and the psychotherapist can work on what's getting in the way, what's the difficulty, what are the fears. So there is collaboration between those two.